You wanna go, you wanna leave. So baby, come and get away with me. You wanna go.
So, his mother's all mad. She's like in the courtroom. She tried to like rush over towards me and my girlfriend. She was gonna try to do something, and she's yelling out all kinds of names and all kinds of stuff, and we're just like, what the hell, And her husband had to pull her back and take her out of the courtroom, and we're just like really shocked, like, dang, what's going on with this? And so after all this happened, and after he getting sentenced and everything, like, we're not even staying at my house anymore for the fact that someone just, broke into our house and beat me up and stabbed me and everything like that. So I'm still shocked, I'm still shocked of all of it. I still have memories, flashback. I have like a lot of stuff I'm thinking about. And so my mom, said, well, just come over and stay with me for a little while until you guys are ready to go back to your house, And she totally understood, And so we went and stayed at her house, and my brother and my mom's boyfriend, Calvin, they had to go back to my house and replace the door and everything, because they just totally busted off the hinges and broke the door frame and everything when they were coming in my house. And so even though that was a quick job to fix the door, I wasn't really ready to go back to my house yet, because I was still kind of scared. There was a lot of fear, and I didn't know if maybe their family members would try to retaliate on me. I didn't know, because it seemed like all those kids' family members were all pissed off at me, kind of deal, like looking at me like I'm the whole reason that they're in prison. I'm the whole reason why their son's done with this, when in reality I'm not. It's their own children's choices that put them in this place. And so I think I stay at my mom's house like maybe about a week, and then I get ready to go back home. Well, one day I'm at my mom's house. I get up, and they didn't stitch up my back because it was such a deep wound, so they just put like gauze on it and left it open so it could push out any infection. So my girlfriend would have to change the gauze and take care of it and stuff like that, at the time. And my mom was helping us out with my son and everything like that. And so one night I got real bad vertigo, but I didn't know what it was. Me and my girlfriend were driving around in the car or whatever, and like everything just started spinning on me, like the whole world just started spinning on me, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, just driving down in the car, and like everything's going like this and all over the place, and I'm just like, what the hell is all this? So she ends up taking me in the hospital, because like my head's spinning majorly, like I'm throwing up and stuff, and she even lays me down in the bed, and the room's just constantly spinning. And I'm just like, oh man, I can't handle this. So she takes me to the hospital, and one of the doctors is pushing on my back right around that wound, kind of checking it out. He's just lightly pushing on it. Next thing you know, when he's pushing on it, it just squirts out all kinds of blood and infection and stuff like that. And so he patches that up and cleans it up and everything. And they told me they done scans on my head, because when I was beat up, scans on my neck and everything. And actually, to this day, I have some neck issues. I have like some bulging discs in there, and I think it's probably because of that deal, when they broke in and beat me up. I think they done so much damage that they hurt my neck. But so the doctor tells me that I have vertigo, and I didn't know what vertigo was, and he said it's like related to like an inner ear infection. And he says, like, usually, he pretty much says, like, just stay away from salty foods and stuff like that. And that's what they told me, and I don't really know, But after that, I didn't really have any more vertigo. Like, I maybe had one or two times where some of the vertigo come back a little bit or whatever. But, after me getting stabbed, I think I took, like, 5 days off of work. I had to, just to recuperate, because I was stabbed. I was all beat up and everything. And so I took some time off work, and then finally I come back to work, and everything was good and everything like that. So we're just going through the motions, and this kid's already been sentenced, and I'm just trying to heal up and everything like that. And my brother's mad, and everybody, all my friends are mad that these kids come and try to take my life and everything. But it's just like, what do you do? So the guy who stabbed me got 22 to 30 years. And then the guy that was helping him stab me was under 18, so I think he got like 5 or 6 years in, like, you know, prison or some kind of like underage prison, something like that, with all kinds of probation. And then two of the 19-year-olds, they were beating me up with baseball bats and stuff like that. They end up getting, I think it was like maybe 1.5 or 2 years in prison. So they all end up getting time. And even the girls that were involved in it, you know, that were driving the getaway car, they end up getting probation and everything else. And so they all got time. But even after I healed and recovered, me and my girlfriend, we went out, you know, to a bar, you know, to have a couple drinks and just to try to relax and keep it cool. Well, one of the kids that was involved, his brother came in the bar, you know, and he seen me and my girlfriend knew him from like way back in elementary school or high school or something like that. And they got to talking, and he was like saying, "You better not come up and talk to me, because we're going to have issues, we're going to have problems." And my girlfriend was trying to tell him, you know, it's not our fault. We didn't do nothing. You know, it's their fault. They broke in and beat him up and stabbed him, tried to kill him, and they didn't even have the beef with him. They didn't even know him. But he wasn't really trying to hear it. So, you know, it created a lot of conflict down the road. And so that was that. So I had to live, you know, the rest of my life, you know, with this on the back of my mind. And I'm not saying I'm running from these guys or nothing like that. It's just they look at it from a different point of view. Like, you know, I'm the whole reason why they had to be in prison and get all this stuff, you know, go to boot camp and everything. But I'm totally not, you know, it's not my fault. And so moving forward with my testimony, me and my girlfriend, we started to have a lot of issues with each other, you know, and our relationship was going down, you know, like we just had a lot of problems. We were still young. I think I was coming up on like 25 years old or something like that. Maybe I was already 25. But you know, we were having a lot of issues, and she was saying she was going to move out, and we were done, and da 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 da. And it was my house, you know, and she was my girlfriend, and we had times where we thought about getting married, but then, you know, our relationship was so off the wall, you know. It's like, I don't really want to get married, you know, if we have all these problems. So she ended up deciding that she was just going to move her stuff and get out, you know. And she says she was going to take my son with her. Well, you know, I still wanted to be in my son's life, and I was working at the refinery a lot. Some days I was working 8-hour days, some days 12-hour days. It just changed all the time. So, you know, I'm still there in my son's life the most I can be, and I'm still working and trying to get through the apprenticeship, you know. You know, so I'm working these long hours, 12-hour nights sometimes, and then still have to come back and do schoolwork, you know, 3 nights a week, and get all my book work done and everything. So I got a full plate, you know. So I'm just trying to take care of everything. Well, we finally come to the agreement that she was going to move out. So she was going to move out one of these weekends, and that weekend she wanted to move out, I was actually going to get another certification. And it was a med gas brazing certification, and it's like for installing medical gas in the hospitals. You had to do like a 2-day course and all these tests and stuff like that at the Union Hall. So I was down there at the Union Hall taking this test, and that's the same weekend she wanted to move out. So I called my mom up and her boyfriend and asked if they could go help Jackie, you know, move out some furniture or whatever. And she had some stuff she wanted to take, and I was, you know, I understood. I was like, well, whatever, you know, just if it's yours, take it, you know, just don't take my tools, and maybe leave me some stuff, you know, so I have something in my house. And so they started moving out all the stuff and everything like that. And my mom called me a couple times saying she wanted to take everything, and I was just like, just let her take whatever she wants to take, whatever, you know, I don't really care, because I'm not really worried about materialistic stuff, you know, like I say, I grew up with hardly anything, you know, so, and I've, you know, made a big change in my life, so I know I can get this stuff back. So after all this was said and done, they moved out the whole weekend and everything. Well, on Sunday, the final day of the test, I come home and she's already finished moving out and everything like that. And so I'm looking around the house and she took pretty much everything, you know. She took the bed, you know, my son's bed, you know, the spare bedroom furniture. The only thing she left is the washer and dryer, but that was with my house, and she left like the refrigerator and stuff like that. But all the other furniture she took, the couches, the TV, the tables, the dining room set, the lawnmowers, you know, the grill, just everything she wanted, even the plates. And I was shocked because as far as like dishes go, she left me, and I think she done it to be spiteful, but she left me like one dish to eat off of, one little bowl, one butter knife, one fork and one spoon. She didn't leave me no steak knives, and one little glass, and just like hardly left me with anything. And I kind of laughed and I was like, really, you know, we're gonna be this childish that you're just gonna take everything and just clean me out like that? And I was just like, well, whatever, you know, that's life. And she even took our vacuum cleaner, so all I had was like a broom. So I have a $150,000 house with just a couple dishes in it and a broom, you know. In my car, I had my car at the time. That was a Monte Carlo. So as we move forward, so she moves out, and I just thought, well, whatever, you know, I'll just. And she took the dogs and everything else, so she just pretty much just took everything she wanted. She took the dogs and everything. And so I'm sitting in there in this big old house all by myself, you know, it's just me. No son, no girlfriend, no dogs, no furniture, no nothing. And I'm just like, well, whatever. She did leave me one bed that was way downstairs in my basement, so I had to haul it all the way up and put it in my master bedroom, and that's pretty much all I had. I had that and my clothes and just essential stuff. And so, you know, I'm getting everything all back together. And, you know, I just figured, you know, I'll just go to work and, you know, make some money and just buy some new furniture. And so I think like 2 or 3 weeks go by, and I'm working like a lot of hours at the refinery, so I'm making good money, you know. And finally, you know, I ordered some furniture. I ordered like some new couches, tables, and a kitchen table, and some chairs, and just small stuff, vacuum, stuff like that. And so she comes over like a few weeks later to bring my son to me, you know, so I could have him for the weekend. And she walks in and she sees all my new furniture there, and she's just giving me like a dirty look, like, huh. And I'm just like, what, you know? I said, I had to buy new furniture. You took out my old furniture, and I got a new TV and everything like that. And you could tell she was like kind of pissed off that I came back so quick, you know, with furniture and everything like that. But I didn't ask for us to break up. I didn't ask for anything like that. It's just we kind of recognized what it was. You know, our relationship wasn't all that. So as more and more time went on, I think she ended up actually taking me for child support. She took me for child support and this and that, and I went and bought a crotch rocket. And I went and she wanted to meet me someday so she could get some money before she took me for some child support. And so I pulled up on my crotch rocket, and you know, that probably wasn't the wisest thing to do, but I did. And she was jealous about that too, and wanted to push it over and everything, but I was just like, well, whatever, you know. And so as more and more time went on, I think she ended up seeing someone else, and I ended up seeing a different chick or whatever. You know, life continues on. And so we're coming up right on about 2009 right now. And so not that much happens in 2009, you know, just seeing my son the best I could, you know. When I wasn't able to see him, you know, I might go have a drink or something with one of my buddies, you know, just whatever, you know. But my main focus was trying to stick to work, trying to get through the apprenticeship, try to get my journeymans, you know, and just try to do a good job with my life, you know, and try to be the best person I could, you know. Still try to be a dad, you know. And it was kind of rough because me and her were getting a lot of arguments, but you know, that's life, you know, we're still young. And so the whole year of 2009 goes around, and not much really happens during this year. Towards the end of 2009, the apprenticeship, you know, my teachers and everything told me I had enough hours to be a journeyman. Because with the union, you have to have 8,500 man hours on the job training with the pipe fitters union, and you had to have all your schoolwork done. Well, if you calculate it out, if you're just working 40-hour weeks, it usually takes 5 years. But since I was working so much overtime, I've already had all those hours. And so I had all those hours like right around 4.5 years. And so they told me, well, they could go ahead and turn me out as a journeyman. So I got turned out as a journeyman, you know, and I was happy and everything because it was early, and this is my whole goal was to get in there, finish an apprenticeship, get my journeyman's, get a certified welder and everything, and I smashed all that. You know, I completed all that. I got everything done that I wanted to get done. And so as more and more time goes on, my ex, she was dating some guy or whatever, and then, you know, like we had a couple instances where, you know, we would still like flirt around and do our thing or whatever. But it was off and on kind of deal, and you know, I took her on vacation with me here and there, and my son, and this was even after she moved out. You know, we were kind of like back and forth, but we knew it wasn't really like a relationship. It was just kind of flirting around kind of deal. So she ends up getting pregnant again. And she told me she was pregnant, but she was dating this other guy and fooling around with me. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do, you know. I was like, well, if you're pregnant, well, I just want to see who the father is. And she kind of got mad about that. But, you know, you got to understand where I'm coming from. You know, we were fooling around on each other and not really in a steady relationship. And I know she was with different guys, so I just want to see a good test come back saying that I was the father. So, you know, she was pregnant on her own, and I kind of felt bad, but when you're put in a predicament like that, you really don't know what to do, you know? Because if you jump in there and say, oh yeah, it's mine, well, that's kind of foolish too, because you don't know if it's yours or not. But if you pull back and say, well, I want to see a test, well, then that's kind of like being a prick too, because you're letting her go through this 9-month period, and she has no support or nothing like that. But, you know, you kind of see the point on two different sides. And so after all this time goes on, she ends up calling me up one night, and she says, hey, I had the baby. She says, can you come to the hospital and see the baby? And I said, sure. I says, I'll be right there. And so I went to the hospital that night and went to go see the baby. But something was weird. You know, I walked in the hospital and my son wasn't there. None of her family members were there. Nobody was there. And I was just thinking, this is weird. And I thought, well, she probably had the baby early on in the day. And, you know, she just called me very last, you know, after everybody left. And so we're sitting in the room, and I'm seeing the baby and everything like that, kind of checking out the baby. And the baby's so small, you can't really see the facial features of, like, you can't really tell if it's mine or someone else's or not. So, and we got to talking, and she says, can we work things out? Can we make things right? Can we get back together? This and that. And, you know, at this time and point in my life, I really didn't want to work anything out with her, but at the same time, I was thinking about that baby. And I said, well, here's the deal. I says, if this baby ends up to be my baby, I says, we will work stuff out. We will work stuff out, you know, but I want to see if this baby's mine or not, you know. And she says, well, can you stay in this room, you know, and help me out through the night? So they had a little couch on the side, and I stayed the night in the room and helped her out with the baby, you know. And I think the next day, like, she just started to come staying at my house. I told her, well, just come stay at my house and we'll just see how things go. But I really want a test done on this baby. I got to know whose this baby is and this and that. And she says, all right. And so as time goes on, I'm taking care of this baby and my son. And, you know, I'm still going to work and everything like that. You know, and we're just trying to find out who the father is. Well, I keep pressuring her to get a test done and stuff like this, and she's like just pretty much throwing it underneath the table, like, oh, she doesn't want to get a test done. Da da da. She didn't tell me that straight out, but you could tell by her actions that she wasn't really wanting to get a test done. She was just wanting me to take over and be the baby's father and just go from there. And I don't know, maybe it's because I had a good job or whatever. I don't know what her thoughts were. But that's what it was, you know. So right around this time, the refinery I worked for was in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and they had another refinery in El Dorado, Kansas. And there was a lot of talk going around at work, and they were saying that they wanted to transfer some workers down there to the refinery in El Dorado, Kansas. And that really interested me, and I really wanted in on that. So I thought about it, you know, and I threw my name in the hat because I wanted to get hired on, well, to go to another refinery and work, just to experience a different part of the country and stuff like that, meet new people and stuff like that. I was ready to get out of my hometown. And so just go ahead and stick with us, guys. We got plenty more content coming, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right here. Subscribe down below, hit the bell icon, you know, stay with me because I got a lot more of the story that's unfolding. And so we'll see you on the next one, guys. Later.